Are you ready?
Yes.
Roll that bitch.
Whoa.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of Bitcade. This is episode 28. 28 episodes. Almost 30. Not yet, though. This is 28 episodes into Bitcade, and we have a little bit of a new setup. A little bit of new things going on here. Maybe some new stuff in the future.
Yes.
I just felt like, hey, let's give this a shot. Let's communicate a little bit more. We have swivel chairs. Yeah? You can do a
No
little
more
dance.
plaid couch?
No plaid couch, no flower couch. I think there's flowers on it. Yeah, there's
Yep. Yeah, there's flowers.
It's over there. You can't see my arm, but it's over that way. Anyway, my name is Ryan A. Moore, but joining me is
Ashton.
and we're going to talk a little bit about, do we need E3 still? We're also going to be talking about the new Switch Lite that was just announced a little while ago, and we're going to talk about, are digital games worth it? So, we are going to start off with, because E3 just got over, we actually just got done with our E3 episode 27 was our E3 episode. Do we still need E3? Let me just throw that question out there for you, Ashton. And I just want to get a little feel of where you're sitting at. We just got done with 2019's E3. We dealt with 2018's E3. That was a little bit lackluster as well.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about it?
I mean, E3, I still say yes, mainly because, you know, it's going to be hard for, you know, if people are wanting, you know, if companies are wanting people to have a hands-on experience with the game that they're releasing or trying to showcase at an E3 type expo, you know, it's going to be hard for each individual company to find a place to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll just do the Nintendo route and kind of do their Treehouse thing, or like EA kind of does their own thing now too. So, I mean, right now, yeah, just because it's going to be harder for indie games if you don't do that. It's still beneficial.
Now, before I give my opinion, I want to just throw out a couple devil's advocate questions out there. So, not necessarily my opinion about it, but just throwing it out there. But what about conferences like PAX West, South? You have RTX that's having stuff now. You have GDC, which is also sort of like E3, but still a little bit grander because Europe doesn't really have it. There's Guardian Con. There's all these little conventions. Little is very quoted and asterisk marked. But like, with those conventions going on, the indies kind of thrive more in the PAX realms.
Agreed.
While not as much as... Now, they do get a grander stage at probably E3 because all eyes are on E3. Not very many eyes are on the PAX. So, how do you feel about that?
Well, here's my thing on that, is I feel like E3 is expected by all the casuals out there, all the people who, you know, like parents who don't really play anything. Maybe they'll play like Call of Duty and they get their kids stuff. So
you're saying that E3 is more of a pop culture phenomenon as opposed to where PAX is more of an inside gaming?
Yeah, PAX is more inside gaming, more for people who, you know, this is their main hobby. Like, this is what they do when they're not working or not in school, like me. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about PAX until... You told me a couple of years ago, and I'd known about E3 since I was in like middle school.
Okay.
So I'm 24 years old.
Yeah.
So for me, it's still very important because like most people don't know about Guardian Con. They don't know about PAX. They don't know about any of these conventions out there that are smaller, but not really smaller.
Yeah.
Some of them
smaller
are actually bigger than E3.
In the grand scale of how it all works out. So, because the way I look at it is, where we were for 2019 E3, I think was definitely the, do we still need this? And it's time to prove whether or not we still need this. Microsoft doesn't need to necessarily be at E3 because they already own the facility that they do the Xbox conference at. So they can just do it without even having to do it. They can do it in Redmond. They can do it in Los Angeles. It doesn't matter, really. Nintendo doesn't do it. They just do a booth, and that's kind of their representation, and then they do the Treehouse thing, or the direct. Is it a direct or a treehouse? Or
I don't remember.
Is the treehouse the whole thing? I don't know.
Nah.
But PlayStation definitely kind of showed that if you don't have anything and you don't show up, it's better than showing up and trying to say that you have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
they learned that the hard way.
But PlayStation also went out and said, "Hey, we're just going to do our own conference." A couple years ago, and they did PSX, and Xbox did what, the XO something or other. XO 18 was the one they did it back in Mexico.
Yeah,
which was interesting, but a lot of people loved it. So I mean, it puts this big emphasis of, is it worth spending millions of dollars to put on this huge production to go to this event for a specific reason, or do you play EA's route where it's like they haven't shown up for years and they just do their own thing for the last couple of years? And like Nintendo, where they don't show up at all unless it's just a booth, which they do at PAX and they do at all the other different conferences too.
Well, I guess it just depends on where everyone else is at. With like the majority of gamers are casual gamers. I mean, that's just a fact. But I guess like you'd have to think about whether or not casual gamers follow publishers and follow developers and know who makes what. Because for the longest time, I didn't care about who made my game. Now I do, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I don't like the people who are making that game, I'm not gonna buy it when it first releases. I'm gonna wait a couple months just to make sure it's gonna be what I want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, and to go back to when we were talking about the indies, it is a grander stage for those indies to start stepping up. But then you start to look at like, well, anytime they're going to show those indies, it's usually in like a scissor reel of like, they're going to be put in 40 seconds of 40 games. Like they're going to get one frame and then they're just going to be off to the next game. So where you get things like how Kinda Funny did it this year, where Kinda Funny hosted their own like indie showcase where they showed, I think I don't remember, but Kinda Funny did their own thing, and they brought in all these indie developers and then they highlighted them for their Twitch stream. So it's like, is that the better route for indie developers to just go into smaller routes and try to hit audiences where they think that these people are already going to be interested, so we might as well show them this game? Or do they try to keep doing try to sign with Xbox and Nintendo, because they both did it this year? They just did like a minute and then they showed like 30 games all at one time, where it was like, okay, there's that game, there's that, okay, I missed that, okay, that one, all right, whatever, I'm not going to write all this down.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's...
And again, I'm more of just throwing out devil's advocate questions. Like, my opinion of it is more of like, I think the indie developers should do as much as they can to put their game in the light. So that means going to E3 and trying to do that, and that half a frame is guaranteeing them an extra 1,000 units sold, then by all means, like, go to E3. But I think that the PAX Mega Indie booth is like way better.
Oh, by far, yeah. I guess the main difference there is, like, if you take PAX, for example, I mean, PAX isn't super, televised or anything like that. I mean, they have certain things that they do show, that they broadcast, but it's not like how E3 is, where everything that's going to be there is going to have, in some shape or form, long or short, be up on the main stage. Because pretty much everything on the main stage is going to be everything on the main stage is going to be broadcasted. Mm-hmm. But there isn't really a main stage at PAX. There's just multiple stages everywhere of like stuff you get to go do. It's a very different experience. So it's, I guess E3 is more for like the whole world to see, and things like PAX is more so for the true gamers to see.
The diehards that have maybe they might buy this game, but them trying it out
buy the game and probably get the merch because it's badass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's definitely an interesting question where we've seen different examples of where E3 has been a great thing and has been an awesome thing, but we've seen attendance drop. Them opening it up to the public hasn't really helped them.
Yeah.
Like E3 and its conference in general, the E3 Expo is not as popular as where people get more excited when they're at the PAX events, that the RTXs and all
That's
these
'cause
different events.
That's because like E3, there's not a whole lot to do other than
Well, I
just
mean,
test
like,
out those games. Where PAX has other stuff you get to go do too.
yeah, but I mean, there's Gamescom, and Gamescom succeeded, and they actually are growing so big that they have to they have to make a bigger venue every single time, and now it's just like they've maxed out. I think they went up like 5,000 extra people last year than what they were at the year in 2017 or something like that. I don't know. I'm pulling numbers out of my ass,
Nice.
but the thing is like Gamescom still continues on. It is in a different country. I think it's either in France or Germany. It's in Europe.
I think
can't
it's
remember.
in Germany.
So is it because they don't have a PAX over there and that's why they do it? I don't know if there are any other conventions that are in that area, but like Gamescom seems to be okay. It's just E3 kind of falling short in different ways.
I've heard from one or two people that I've known that have gone there. It's just it seemed to E3.
Okay.
They said it's pretty lackluster with things that you get to do there.
Mm.
And it's still like super expensive around there. Like,
well, you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so it's like on top of that. So it's just they found that there was all the stuff that they wanted to go do was just the lines were insanely long, which, you know, with that sort of thing you should expect, but they said that it's like in some cases, you know, they'll be waiting in line for like over 2 hours for one game.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know what to do to fix that. Like,
Yeah.
Is it because like when we go to PAX, I don't think I've ever waited 2 hours to play.
No, I can, yeah.
Yeah, and I've gone since 2012, and so with PAX West being originally PAX Prime, and so like PAX Prime was alone, and then PAX East was kind of the only two, and then Australia joined, and then South, and so I don't know if those, because there are 4 different PAXs now, that the numbers kind of dwindled. I haven't really noticed. I think it's always been popular.
They sell
actually,
out.
I will say, I think I have noticed a little bit in ticket sales. Either they get more tickets and have bigger venues, so that allows them to have more of a population, or because of PAX West being 4 days, and it's also, you know, East, South, and Australia exist, I think it's kind of crowd controlled its own self that allows it so that. So does that mean that maybe if we introduce like E3 East, like in New York, like would that help the numbers and make E3 thrive? One in January, one in like one in quarter 1, one in quarter 4, or something like that.
I honestly don't think so, because I mean because like what you expect from E3 is big shit.
Yeah.
Like every year there needs to be some big news coming.
Some people refer to it as their video game Super Bowl. It's like the big show. This is the stage. This is where we're going to see things that are coming out this year, next year, and beyond.
And it's like kind of why I'm glad Sony, you know, even though I'm not big on Sony, I think it was a smart move for them to stop going, because they kept showing the same shit.
Yeah. And
every
last
year
year was definitely the big last nail in the coffin on Sony's situation, but they realized that.
Yeah, it's if you put out too many Super Bowls, they become less like a Super Bowl.
Fair.
So if it's something literally to show off the big stuff that's happening in the industry this year and next year, you only need one.
Mm-hmm.
You only need one.
So with that said, would you still go to, let me ask you this. You had an option to go to PAX whatever PAX you wanted to go to, versus E3.
PAX.
You would go to PAX.
Absolutely.
See, does that not indicate, though, that maybe E3 is diminishing in its value?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, E3, I don't plan on going. Maybe I'll go once.
Mm-hmm. I'm just throwing out, if you had an all-expense-paid trip to either PAX you wanted to go to, or an E3, like, you would still choose PAX.
I would. You know, the reason being is that PAX is more geared towards the players, and, you know, if E3 is more so about showing off what's going on, you don't need to be there to experience it. You know, you can, you know, like this E3, I was sitting in an Xbox Live party chat with some of my buddies, and we were watching E3 together. I mean, all you really watch E3 for is the information.
Mm-hmm.
What you go to PAX for is an insane experience of testing out games that you would never even, they haven't even seen the light of day until they show up at PAX. Like, you get to see new games, you get to test out new games that are going to be coming out. Oftentimes you get to, when they have new consoles available, those are going to be there. They have loads of VR stuff. If you're into that sort of thing, they got tons of different booths going on. So many different venues within the event. So I haven't been to E3, so I can't speak too much about it.
E3 does have the bigger venues and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I think when it all comes full circle for me, I look at all of these different other events, the smaller events, the more like intimate events where the game creator can communicate to a player and actually have a conversation. When you're at PAX, you can actually talk to the guy who probably made the game, and he's standing right there. You can talk to like graphic designers and things like that to hook yourself back into it. And I'm not saying E3 doesn't do that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of them do that. But this is their Hollywood show. This is the big blockbuster event. You want to get everyone out there. You want to hire all these people. I remember there was actually a G4 thing that they did a couple years back where they tried interviewing a lot of people to see if they actually knew about the game, and they didn't know about the game.
Oh, wow.
Because they were just hired people, but they were trying to still sell it as if they knew what was going on. It was crazy. I think it was G4 that did that. But regardless, I don't know. I don't know if the bigger show is the better way to do it. Xbox has put on events by themselves. They don't need to go to Los Angeles to present stuff. They can easily do it in Redmond. They did it. Not well, but they did it. PlayStation has done their own conference. Nintendo doesn't even do conferences. They just do tree houses or directs throughout the year. PlayStation started doing that. They're not great either. But I don't know. I don't know where, like, if you asked me 5 years ago where would E3 be, I would be saying, oh man, we're going to be getting all this cool stuff because the Xbox One and the PS4 just came out. Now I'm kind of looking at it as like 5 years from now, I don't know what E3 will be. I don't know if it can continue on the path that it's on right now. If they just change things or try to redirect things. And who knows, maybe it just stays the same. Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony show up and they're just like, yep, we're going to do the same thing. We've done this for the last decade and a half or 20 years or whatever. But there has been years where E3 doesn't happen. They took a break and then they came back. So I don't know if they need that. I don't know what needs to go on.
Maybe. I don't know. Next year should be one of their biggest years because they're going to be showing off everything about the new consoles. They should anyway because they're coming out holiday 2020.
Yep.
So,
well, Xbox has said that they will be.
Well, I'm sure PlayStation will be around.
PlayStation probably will be. But, hey, who knows? Sometimes the people like to get in a little bit earlier, maybe sometimes a little bit later, see what's the...
Maybe.
So.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It should be a good E3 next year. This year was meh. The year before, meh. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I have hope.
Hope. That's all we can ask for. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have anything that you guys want to say about E3, whether you love it or you hate it, go in the comment section below and tell us what you love about it and why E3 needs to stick around. Or in the comment section below, put why we don't need E3 anymore and maybe a new convention is the one that needs to take that title of the best conference of the year. But we are going to move on to the next topic. Topic number 2 is something that was kind of announced in the middle of the night. The Switch Lite is the one that was announced. Like, I only found out because I woke up, I looked at my Instagram, and I saw IGN post, Nintendo announces a new Switch, and I was like, huh? What is that? And I I'm scrolling, trying to figure out. Tell me a little about the Switch Lite. What's going on with that thing?
Well, it's basically a Switch, but not a Switch. It's more like a DS.
Yeah, it's a 2DS essentially.
Does not hook up to a TV or a monitor. It's just straight up on the pad. The Joy-Cons do not detach. There's no charging dock station. You have to just plug it in via USB-C probably.
Yeah.
and it's a smaller screen, longer battery life. And that's pretty much
Comes in
it.
3 designer colors.
No HD rumble.
No HD rumble, huh? I did not know that.
No HD rumble.
Okay. What about these colors? Do you like these?
It's like teal, like
yellow,
mustard yellow.
Yep. I would say like that menu yellow. Can we get that menu right there? I'm not gonna. Don't show the company name here. It's like this yellow.
A little darker.
Yeah.
And then there was like a gray one.
That's it. Just
That's
3.
it. There's just 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any of those stick out to you? If you had $200 to light on fire?
No.
Okay.
No.
None of those were great.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting thing. It does retail at $199, which is what I believe I predicted in the E3 predictions.
You did.
Was the cheaper version was going to be $199. Now, if we get a big version and it's $299, then I win. I predicted all that.
It won't be though. You know they wouldn't do that. They'd at least tack on an extra $50.
Maybe. I think if there is a big one that's coming, it will replace the. But that's a different topic for a different time.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Do you have one to say something?
They could go like with the DS model, or how they go with lights and then the XLs and whatnot.
True, they did get rid of the lights eventually. They
Yes.
just went with
I don't
XL
know why we needed a light version, but
of the Switch.
yeah.
I don't know either. I think this is definitely. You had mentioned this before we started recording, and I'll let you explain your piece of it. I'm just going to drop it in there. But you had said, why did we need why did we need a Switch Lite? And then, what does that mean with the DS? Where does that fit the 3DS now?
Yeah.
Where Nintendo said when the Switch launched, that we will have 3 pillars. Like, not verbatim of what they said, but they essentially said we're going to do mobile, we're going to do console, and we're going to do DS. Like, we're going to do the Switch, the DS, and mobile. That's our thing. It's not looking like that's what's going to happen in about a year and a half.
It looks like it's maybe changing because, I mean, the only difference... So the main difference there is the DS, I believe you can still fit in your pocket.
Yes. We don't... Now, we know it's a smaller Switch.
Yeah, but not that much smaller. It's by an inch.
Okay, because it looks
Less
like
than
the
an
size
inch.
of a PS
Yeah.
Vita.
It's like a little bit less than an inch smaller. But, I mean, I guess it's kind of taking away what makes the Switch good. You know,
Sure.
it's a hybrid console, which is its major selling point. You can play it on the go. You can play it at home on the big screen.
Now, IGN did put a poll out there, and I'm curious to hear what your answer is. Do you play the console docked, handheld, and I'm going to add this one, or both?
I do both, depending, because like here's my thing. So
percentage-wise, what are we working with?
Most of the time, so it's 80-20. 80-20 on the big screen.
So 80% you're playing docked, 20% you're playing
Yeah.
handheld. Okay.
That's me. I mean, I typically will take it if I'm gonna go out on a trip. If I'm gonna be on a plane, it's my go-to thing. Fuck my phone. I'm hopping on the Switch. Waiting in line at PAX. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta get a big battery.
I actually just bought a battery pack, a backpack for that thing. It actually plugs in. Anyway, that's a different thing.
Okay, I'll look at that later.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, for me, it just seems kind of like they're making a big fat 2DS.
A vertical or horizontal
Yeah.
DS.
It's very weird.
I definitely look at this as, because I didn't watch the Nintendo video that they posted. Nate was watching it, and I kind of was just kept asking questions of like, is there a reason to buy this thing? And I don't think there really is a reason to buy the game, or the console. Is there a reason to buy the console? To me,
But it's not a console. It's a handheld.
I mean, I look at well, that's a different topic. But the thing I look at it is like, is this worth buying? Is it worth owning if you have a Switch already? I think absolutely not. There's no reason to actually buy this thing unless you have one and then your kid plays yours and you're like, I don't want to pay an extra $100 to get the other one. So here you go. Here, play my shitty one.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was seeing in some of the comments, because I saw it on social media first and saw it on Twitter. And people were saying, oh, yeah, I'll get this for my kid. You know, it's if that was their target audience, then they probably hit it, because there's lots of parents in the comments saying, "Oh yeah, I'll get this for my kids."
Well, if we look back at the history,
No more broken Joy-Cons.
yeah, if we look back at the history of the DS, from the DS to the DS Lite to the 3DS to the 2DS, we saw the reason why they made the 2DS was so that kids could play it. Kids under 7 aren't really supposed to be seeing the 3D images that they do. I guess it messes with your eyes. I don't know. But so the 2DS was created. It was bigger, it was bulkier, it was something that you could drop, and then it was like, oh, well, it's not broken. Otherwise, the DS would snap the screen and you'd be screwed out of your money there. And then they created the 2DS XL, which is the big foldy one. But to me, this is definitely a 2DS to the 3DS sort of situation.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me, there's no reason to buy it unless you have a kid. I mean, if you're willing to spend $200 on a console, what's that? Another $100.
Yeah, I guess so.
For something,
but another $100 could buy you a game. Actually, could buy a couple games. Could buy you a game and some digital content.
Right.
Too.
But if you're looking at it this way, the only thing that is really, like, in any sense, this isn't supposed to be an upgrade, but the only thing that is better on it is the battery life, and that's because it's smaller.
That's true. Yeah, and it doesn't have to charge your Joy-Cons all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally would look at this and go, this is ridiculous. I don't know what this is. But that's kind of what I felt about the 2DS, and then it sold millions of copies, or maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands at least of units to add to the DS line and to make that console bigger and in more households and whatnot. But this, to me, seems like it's the DS killer. There's now no reason once the the Switch Lite comes out that the 2DS exists, that the 3DS exists, because now it's at the same price point. Actually, the 2DS might be $150. I'm not sure, and maybe the 2DS might be $100. But anyway, the thing is like now you're kind of competing with yourselves because you're the only ones that make handheld consoles now. Like the Vita does well in Japan, but it don't do well here, or worldwide at all.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that the DS is going to be saved on is its size. That's really it, because you can still fit in your pocket. The Switch, you need a case. Like, you need a case to carry it around. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just not very practical.
Yeah. But, if they come out and say that there's no difference in graphics and things like that, maybe the people that looked at the Switch and said, I would never play that as a docked mode at all, which I don't really do that. I play my Switch exclusively handheld. Like, I've always wanted to play Pokemon on the TV, but I still have yet to do that, and I've owned Let's Go since Christmas of last year. So it's like I don't really feel like doing that because I like having the ability to play and then have something else going on TV. If I'm like just binge watching something, or if I'm watching a show that I'm not really too interested in, or a boring part is happening, I can play. Like when I'm watching like wrestling and stuff like that, I'll usually play my Switch and just kind of hear the noise, and if something's happening, then I'll pause it and watch the thing and whatnot. But maybe that might be an incentive for someone to go, well, I'm not gonna hook this thing up anyway, only an extra $100 and I get to hook it up. Oh, I'm just gonna buy the $199 thing. So I don't know.
Well, I don't know. For me, it's like the Switch being more so, like I said, it's a hybrid.
Well, it's in its name.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. That's what I think IGN posted a thing on Instagram as well, of the joke of like, what do we call the new console now that it doesn't switch? Like, they're referring to it, Nintendo has officially called it Switch Lite, but
it's not
a Switch. So like, what would you call this thing? Paperweight? Like, what are we calling this thing?
I don't know.
It doesn't have a kickstand either, I don't think.
No kickstand.
Because there's no reason to have it. Yeah.
No kickstand.
Can you play with a Pro Controller? You didn't see that?
I didn't see.
See, that would be the interesting thing. Can you play with a Pro Controller? Because then you could technically like put it up there, but you'd have to jostle it around.
I'm going to say no, because otherwise they would have put in a kickstand.
That's true. That's very true. But
that's just speculation.
How do you play with others? You can't. See, it takes all the whole selling points of the Switch. If you can't kickstand it, then you obviously can't share and play with somebody. You can't play like Mario Kart with somebody unless they had a Switch. So it's like, what is this thing? Like, why does this thing exist? Like, I'm still trying to, taking all my opinions aside, why did Nintendo look at the Switch and was like, you know what? Let's make a cheaper version, a plasticier version, and able so that you can't play with your friends anymore, like, unless you had a Nintendo subscription. Like, I don't see why this was a good business move. But then again, I'm not a CEO of Nintendo. I'm not, what's his name, Dave Bowser? What is his name?
Yeah, but this
Dave
this
Bautista?
had to have
I don't
been
know.
in like production before he became.
That's true. This is the
Head of
the
Nintendo.
new head of the actual president of Nintendo, the Japanese guy. Like, this is under his realm now. It's kind of the Phil Spencer effect, where he's kind of that role for Nintendo.
Well, I mean, he's just in head of Nintendo US.
No, not. I'm not talking about Bowser. I'm talking about the Japanese guy.
The old one?
I can't remember what his name is.
Anyway. Reggie something.
No, that's different. Reggie was the guy that was Nintendo US. Anyway, let's
Oh.
bounce away from this.
Oh,
one.
you mean like the head?
Yes,
Oh.
the head of the Nintendo itself. But anyway, I don't know. I can't. Like, if they had announced we're getting a Switch Lite and we're getting a Switch XL, let's call it that. That to me would make sense. Because then you have the option of, like, here's the bigger one. If you want to spend an extra, we'll say you're $50, then go buy this one. If you want to spend the $200, you buy this one, the standard one. Or if you want to save $100 and get a game with it, go buy the cheap version. But when you just say, like, here's our old one, and then here's the $199 one. And it's like, okay, well, then I'm still going to buy your old one because your $199 one doesn't, there's nothing, you're taking stuff away and not really adding things.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like with every light version, I think it's just for people who aren't really super committed to, the idea, but they're still Nintendo fans, but they don't want to shell out $300, or they want it for their kids. Nintendo's a lot more family friendly.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So.
Yeah. It is, yeah, it's this is $199.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
it's $199.
And then the regular Switch is $299.
I mean, it's still a lot to spend on a 7-year-old, but
true. But people buy their kids iPads and iPhones.
That's also
so
true.
That's a thing as well.
So I mean, do what you do. I mean, my opinion is, I game a lot, so I don't want that piece of shit light.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. There's a lot to leave in the realm of trying to understand this thing, but I mean, if it somehow runs better,
it will not,
because it's not pushing
it's
X
it's
and Y
light.
and Z. I know, but I'm just saying, if it says that, then there's a reason. There's at least a reason where you can sacrifice all of these other things so that you can have Zelda run better.
Well, it does need to run better. That's a fact.
But the thing is like, right now, all you're saying is this thing runs games the same way with shittier equipment and shittier, like, bullet points of it has this, and this.
It doesn't even have Rumble on it.
And that's all these major selling points that Nintendo did when the Switch came out. The HD Rumble, the docking system, the Joy-Cons, the kickstand, the ability to play with another player if you wanted to, like, all these things that made the Switch unique. They've essentially recreated the PSP, because it's not even a Vita. Like, the Vita had the back touchscreen at least. Like, this one, okay, sure, a PSP didn't have front touchscreen, and this one maybe has that. I didn't see that have on the list either. But let's say it does. And I'm just going to say, you've made a PSP that has a touchscreen on the front. Because the Vita at least has front and back, so it's a little bit different. I don't know. The PS Vita didn't succeed here. What makes the Switch Lite able to succeed when that console didn't?
Don't know. They probably. I mean, I can't imagine them making a lot of them.
Sure.
To be honest, I mean, they'll probably to each store maybe send 2 of each color. I don't.
What do you think the ratio of, like, you kind of answered that, of Switch to Switch Lite? If you were to send, all right, Nintendo is sending 10 of them to Target. How many of them do you think would be regular, and how many of them do you think are going to be colored?
Well,
or
I mean,
the Lite?
When it first launches, I mean, there's probably going to be more like 50-50.
Okay, let's say
Over time.
like an average time of
average
them being
time.
out?
So let's say 6 months post launch.
Sure.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be maybe you'll get 3 lights.
Of each color, or just
No, just
probably
3
whatever the
lights.
popular one is.
Just whatever
Yeah.
the popular ones
Just
are.
randomly.
Because I don't feel like they're gonna sell that well. I mean, it's
So you're
it's-
giving them 6 months, and it's just it'll die off.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely.
So
Because I mean, it's
by next year
if
now.
you want it for your kids,
Yeah. So it's coming out in September. Is that right?
I think.
So by around the quarter 2, you think we're just going to be at? They're just going to exist, and no one's really going to pay mind to them.
I think it's just mainly gonna be for kids, and that's fine.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. It's not our market.
I'll wait. I'll wait for the next one.
The chunky guy.
I want the big bulky
The big,
motherfucker.
the big
yeah.
boy.
I got big hands, so that's fine. If it's a little thicker, that's fine.
Yeah, you like a little girth to it.
Yeah, just a little bit
You
of
want to
thickness.
grab it. Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about the Switch Lite is the branding name for this thing that Nintendo decided to name this abomination. Make sure you leave it in the comment section below whether you think this is a great idea and that Nintendo is on track to making the Switch
Make the Switch great again.
Yeah, make the Switch great again. It wasn't ever not great, but I mean, it was
Well,
problems.
I mean, they took away the Switch
it was
part.
good.
So
It was good. Yeah, they took
they
away
took
that.
away the good part of the Switch.
Yeah. So if you guys think that the Switch is on the right track, make sure you leave in the comment section why you think that the Switch Lite is a good idea. But if you think that the Switch Lite is a terrible idea and you have no idea what the heck Nintendo is thinking, put in the comment section below why you think that, and we will go down there and read it and see what you guys think about what all the Switch Lite is doing. But yeah, final thoughts on the Switch Lite. Good idea, bad idea. Overall, no in-betweens. Good idea, bad idea.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. I'm going to say bad idea too. But, I'm willing to see what happens as well. But I'm, like I said,
I wish them best
no
of luck.
in-betweens. No in-betweens. I'm going to say it's a bad idea right now.
I hope they profit off of it because I like Nintendo, but
It is
it's a thumbs down for me.
July 11th. When this episode comes out, it will be 2 weeks after that. But I think right now it is a bad idea. So, anyway, we're moving on to our third and final topic.
Wow.
Are digital games a waste of time?
No.
A waste of money?
No.
A waste of effort?
No.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I think that because you have the game sharing aspect
You do.
where you can
You can pull the old bougie, not bougie, but the scumbag Netflix account effect where you have one person buy the game and then you get to play it.
How does that make you a scumbag? If
I'm
they
just
didn't,
saying,
if they didn't want it on there,
I mean,
It wouldn't
it's
be
not
on
the
there.
purpose of why it's there.
it's been in effect for like
That's
over
true.
5 years.
If they wanted to change it, they could change it. But I'm
They-
just saying
They could.
that's not what the reasoning of why they added it.
But what they're more focused on right now in the game industry is not, game sales very important obviously, but they're also worried about how many players they have on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That shows how well the game's doing.
Okay.
I think they're more interested in those numbers than the actual sales because if their game doesn't have players on it all the time, why are they going to buy your next game?
That's true. That's true. My thing of the reason why I think digital game. Now I own digital games. I'm not saying I don't buy digital games, but I think there's a big giant question now that Telltale left. One big major question is when a game company goes away, does that give them the right to remove games off of your account that you purchased at full price? Let me pull this example here. This isn't a true example, but let me just pull it up. Actually, we'll use a true example. Minecraft Story Mode. That's what it was. Minecraft Story Mode that made by Telltale. If you buy that game physical, you can play the game. You can play the whole first one. Boom. It's on disc. You can play the full complete thing. If you own that game digitally, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, I don't know if it went to Nintendo, it's gone. You can't download it. If you downloaded it before they took it off, you can still play it, but you can't play it now. So it opened up this question that And they're not the first to do this. There are games that are on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 that just disappear from your library that you won't even know until you check back and you're like, oh yeah, didn't I own this game? And you're like, oh yeah, this game doesn't. It's not available to buy, so I can't get this anymore. So when you buy the game, should you be able to have the game 100% all the time? Let's just ask that question first.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now that question's out, what now though? Why is it okay for Telltale or any other company when they go under to just take their game off the marketplace? And then what maybe is an alternative for that? Because there's obvious reasons of why the game is taken off the marketplace. I know you're probably yelling in your car going, why? Well, it's because there's no servers where you can download this from. But in a perfect world, what gives them the right to just take that game off?
They technically don't. It would be illegal because you're taking away something that.
Well, clearly
bought.
it's not illegal.
Yeah, but you have to look at. So you said in perfect world.
Okay, I was more of fitting in that scenario, but
in this scenario,
yeah,
I guess I'd have to understand the reason why. Their stuff was taken off, but in a perfect world,
it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
It shouldn't happen.
You feel if when Telltale went under that the game should still be available to purchase, but then it goes into this question:
not to purchase,
or just available for people that have downloaded it.
Yeah.
So you're saying, let me try and wrap what you're trying to say is I bought Minecraft Story Mode. I should be able to download that game anytime I want. But for the people that want to buy it new, like for them to buy it, like let's say you didn't play it, but Telltale went under and you're like, oh, I still want to buy it. If it's not available for you to buy, is that still okay? But I'm still able to download my game. Is that okay? We're like, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So like I bought my game, but you can't buy the game.
If you bought yours before they went under, you just haven't played it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I should still have the availability.
Yeah,
but you're okay with them
not,
removing from the store.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, but the thing is, though, I mean, if in that case you're not able to download something that you bought because unforeseen, to you, I think that you should get a refund for that.
Okay.
Through whatever, under Xbox or whoever, because they got a percentage of that sale.
See, that's what makes things even crazier when you start diving into a lot of these things. Is like retailers don't get a big cut from a lot of these games. Like if it's not a Microsoft game, Microsoft's not really making any money on this thing. They're making maybe $1 or $2, and the rest of that goes to the developer. So the big pie is it asks this question of, okay, so the Telltale went under, the game now can be refunded to you. Who the hell is paying that money? Because all the Xbox is going to do is they're going to go, all right, well, we'll give you $2 because that's all you got to, like, I'm just trying to be more of an asshole about asking this question, but, like, who's paying that money when Telltale is bankrupt?
Well, how much was this Minecraft Story Mode?
I think with DLC, it probably equaled to maybe $30-$40.
Yeah, so, I mean, they could at least give you, like, a gift card. Because it happened on their store still.
Sure.
Because they still have codes.
But the problem is then Xbox is losing this money. If it's me, if it was just one dude, they probably would be like, all right, yeah, here's $20. But now it's like, let's say 1,000 people bought that. That's $20 gift cards handed out to thousands of people. It gets a little pricey. And then worse is that game actually succeeded, so it's probably into the tens, maybe hundreds of thousands that bought that game. I don't know. But what's weird is this question doesn't just revolve around video games. It revolves around music, too. I bought a album years ago from Kevin McCall. And now that album is gone. It is not on iTunes. But I paid money for that. And Apple didn't even email me saying like, "Oh yeah, the game's not, or the songs aren't available anymore." And so it introduces this whole dynamic of, okay, well then shouldn't I have gotten that money back because I spent money on this thing? But it kind of, I don't know.
But I guess it's also, why didn't you download it?
I did download it. Oh, like you're talking about? They deleted it off my phone. It's like gray, and I can actually show you. It's just this gray bar. And it says the name of the song, and it's just I can't listen to it. I wonder, banter about this sort of thing. What?
Okay,
How do
so
you feel in general about this topic, and then comparing that to your idea about digital games?
I guess okay. So for me, my question is for the Minecraft.
See?
Oh wow,
They're all. It says this song is not currently available in your country or region,
wow.
but it's just removed from iTunes.
So for the Minecraft story thing, did you have it downloaded?
I was not able to download it.
Okay, so I can understand that.
No. Mm-hmm.
It still really sucks and shouldn't happen, but
Yeah.
I can understand how that. But taking shit out of your library that you have downloaded, that ain't right.
Okay. They did warn everybody. They're like, I think like about a week ahead of time. They're like, we're removing it, so download it. But after that, it's gone forever. But it's like, I don't know, it just still is a little shitty of a situation. But it drives up an interesting question, because then it's like all of the consoles and even Google starting this way are starting to lean towards digital content. So it's like, is it better to just subscribe to a service than to actually buy the game, knowing that maybe somewhere in the future your thousands of dollars in games are just going to disappear eventually? Like maybe maybe not now, maybe not today, maybe
Yeah,
not
because
10
you only have
years
so much
from now.
space.
But like,
Because you only have so much space for that.
I don't know.
That's something to ponder. I mean, that maybe that is why people are, all these companies are going towards streaming.
Yeah. I mean, it lightens up server space where people start to forget about games. But what's the shitty part about all of this is it kind of forces people to forget about games and not naturally just, oh yeah, I remember that game. I wish I could go back and play that game. It's like, well, too bad, because the game doesn't exist anymore. But it's like people worked on that game and it could be available. It's like, but then there's these games that you start to wonder, like, who owns these games? Like when THQ went under, you were still able to buy Destroy All Humans. But like then THQ Nordic picked it up, and then now they own the whole thing, and it's getting a remake. But the thing is like, what happens when there's these games in limbo that you're buying these games for your console, and then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, where did my money go? Like, where is all this money going? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I like digital games. I don't have to go up to my console and
You like
eject it.
the convenient factor.
I like the convenience.
Okay.
The reason I don't like streaming is because that same issue is going to happen a lot more often. You don't own anything on there.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like, say, for example, you want to watch Top Gun on Netflix. You can go buy that movie and have it forever.
That's true.
You cannot do that once everything switches over to streaming, because they're not going to, no one's going to be selling
So let me
disc games after they get rid of the disc drives eventually.
You brought up movies. Let me ask you this scenario. Thank God this hasn't happened. But I mean, it sort of happens, but it's not gone forever. Let's say Top Gun. You want to watch Top Gun, but Paramount went under, or whoever owns that. We'll say Paramount. I don't know who actually owns it. And now it's not available to buy. You can't buy it anywhere. You can't download it. You can't buy it physically in stores. And some movies are like that. You can't actually, like, you have to go on eBay and buy some third-party disc from some dude in his basement that he found the disc in, or the VHS tape or something like that. How does that make you feel if they did that with movies, where like, oh yeah, you love Top Gun, but now you just can't watch it anymore because the studio went under, and they remove it everywhere?
Yeah, it'd suck.
So it's like, what is the difference between the movies and the video games?
Well, here's how it would work with the movies, though. I mean, how I feel it would work. I mean, it's just a licensing agreement.
True. That's what video games are,
That's
though.
what video games are as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my thing is, why are they able to, how are they able to go under, even if their kids still be getting, like, royalty checks?
That's the big question. Like, because Destroy All Humans was the situation of that, where it was in this limbo for half of whatever, how long, and then all of a sudden THQ Nordic came around and bought up a lot of old THQ licensing, and therefore allowed a source to be given money, oh, lucky them, and then was able to be bought again. You could buy it on PlayStation. That there's a remake coming. There's all these different things that Destroy All Humans is doing. So that is kind of how they did it. Why Microsoft didn't pick up Minecraft Story Mode shocks me. It's their license. I don't know why they didn't do that. Yeah, so. It's their IP. So I don't know why they didn't just buy it. Maybe that's going to happen with all these Telltale games. That's what saved The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead will continue living on because Skybound now has the rights to the games. So, but games like more with the Telltale games, The Wolf Among Us, Sam and Max, like all these games are sort of in this thing, in this realm of like, it's a matter of time before they get taken, or maybe someone did buy them and we just don't know yet. I don't know. Like, but right now they're going to sit in that spot. In theory, for my opinion, I think digital games are a real good convenience. The fact that you can just go to your buddy's house and we're like, oh, let me just sign in and download the game and have fun playing this game instead of bringing your whole console or bringing a disc with you.
Well, that and it can't be stolen.
That's also true. So there is a giant amazing factor that you can download this 78 gigabyte game and just play it from your console, but then you're like, oh, I don't want to play this anymore. I'll just play Red Dead Redemption, and then boop, right there, you're playing Red Dead.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, the only thing that is holding me back from saying just get rid of disc drives and the consoles is the ability to play movies that I own.
Okay.
But
now they're digital.
Once I know, but once those disc drives are gone, all my DVDs and Blu-rays become useless.
That's what happened with VHS.
However, it does usually each new movie comes with a digital download code.
That is true, because they know that you're not going to watch the physical version.
Eventually it's not going to be there. So
I will say the best way to watch 4K is on a disc, because then there's not any interference. It's just 4K.
Yeah.
Solid being played for the disc. But I don't know, man. As somebody that it's kind of one of those things that you don't really think about until it actually affects you. And it's not a big deal, but it's like just that thought of like, oh, I actually spent money on this game. I actually bought this game and now it's gone forever. I can't play it anymore. It sits there saying that I have it, but I can't ever download it anymore. It's just gone. So I think that's a really big bummer that just starts to hit of this idea of we could lose games forever and we could just never know that they're gone. And that's kind of what happens when consoles get introduced. Obviously games fall behind and they're not able to be accessed anymore or played on the newer stuff. And that's why remakes and HD remasters are a good idea. But the thought of like, oh, I want to play the Saboteur, but I can't ever play that game unless I go back on the 360 and I put the Saboteur in. So I don't know. It just this is the little thing that bugs me to a thing that's still an amazing idea. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we're gonna look back on it after the next 10 years once disc drives are just gone completely.
Sure.
When
the Scarlet 2 comes out and stuff like that,
we're just gonna be like, why do we fight this so much? Like, this is okay. I mean, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't play this game anyway.
Our consoles are so much better now because they don't have to fill it up with a disc drive.
I can't play Pong on my Xbox. I don't see anyone else complaining. Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, right now it's a scary thing. It's a scary thought, but eventually it'll be for the better.
Have you experienced a negative form with your digital stuff?
No.
You've fully, this is a great idea. Sort of.
Never. I mean, the only issue that I'll ever have, because I don't have enough storage space, so I'll uninstall games. But again, if a company goes under, I'm going to lose that game forever.
True.
So I mean, that's the only drawback that I can see with the digital games, and you can't resell them. But fuck GameStop. So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, any final thoughts of that?
I'm good.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up episode 28 of Bitcade. If you have any opinion about are digital games still a good idea, or is it the devil in disguise? Put it in the comment section below what you think about digital games in all their glory.
Put it in.
That's going to be it. That is the end of Bitcade. And that is going to... See, I add the little ding there. See,
Yeah.
I told... Okay. I always explain it, and the music is still going. I have to finish it before the song ends. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to follow us on all of our social media, links are in the description below, and you guys can go and access that whenever you would like to. You can hit the subscribe button. Do that, please, because it helps us out. It grows the channel. It allows us to know that there are people out there that want to join the PT Nation and make make these videos a part of a community.
Tell a fucking friend.
Yeah.
Or
do
5.
that. Yeah.
Do
That's
it.
even better. Tell 5. Ashton, you are on another website representing Primal Target. What other website is that?
Mixer.com
That is
/Primal
it?
Target.
Yep.
We
Mixer.com.
killing it over there, man.
Yeah. You kind of... What time of the day do you normally aim for?
So normally, life permitting, life happens.
Yeah.
5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But if you want to know all the latest on what's going on with Mixer, you want to, what is he not streaming today? He's not on yet. Check out our Twitter. Twitter is the place.
Twitter.
With all the info. It's our hub.
Speaking of Twitter, where can they follow you at personally?
Ashton_Stom.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ryan8emore. That's going to be it for Primal Target. Go check out Steven's link down there, too. He makes the song you're currently listening to, as well as the intro songs to our PT Plays videos, or outros to our PT Plays videos.
He's a big ginger dude that can rap.
Yes, and he'll be joining us in future videos, so he'll be sticking around for a while. So go show him some love on his SoundCloud and whatnot, and say Primal Target sent you. PT Nation rolling strong. My name is Ryan. That was Ashton, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Good night, everybody.
My ass hurts.
You want me to kiss it?